There we go. Just, jeez. Always something. I gotta get this back over here where it's gonna reach. Anyway, hey everybody. Welcome to Wednesday night. Hope you're doing well. Hope everybody's having a good day and everything's going well for all of you. For those of you that are in the South, hope you're enjoying your free 7-day trial of what Alaska's like for most of the winter. And yeah, it's been actually pretty unusually warm up here. So that's kind of funny to a lot of my friends who are in the South and Texas and stuff like that, who are all freezing. There you go. I also saw a really fun meme that was like, this is what you get when you don't ship to Alaska, which is, yeah. Anyway, hope you're all doing well. Tonight is Wednesday night, Solo Creator Q&A. So if you have questions about cameras, lenses, drones, things of that nature, then ask away in the comments or in the live chat, and I'll do my best to answer them. And yeah, I don't have anything really a lot to talk about. I did, and I might make a whole video about the dangers of buying used gear, because I just got burned on a piece of gear. This is, I'm selling my A7III. This is a lens that is like the kit lens, 28-70 with image stabilization. I thought, oh, it'd be nice to include a really just a decent but basic lens for people, whoever buys it, you know, because then they can get right into running and going. And was told that it works, everything's good, got the lens, it does not work, and the buyer is gone. So yeah, so I may do a video about the dangers of buying used gear. I do buy a lot of used gear, and normally it's not a big deal, but this time apparently it was a big deal. And yeah, it just, so kind of sucks. Anyway, yeah, I may still include it with the A7III, because it kind of works, but yeah. Anyway, is what it is. I thought about disassembling it live on the stream tonight, but I'm not going to. So be warned, if you buy used gear, you may get burned. But I do have like camera angle 2, which apparently my autofocus is not on. There we go. A little slow. And camera angle 3. Ta-da! So anyway, hope you're all doing well. Let's see. I know a bunch of you have chatted already. Good to see you all here. Any Aurora action up here, Mark H? Not lately. We're supposed to have some this weekend. I'm hoping to get out there. Hey, Journeyman. Jaden. Hey. Eddie. How's it going? You're here before Paul. Yes, you are. Thanks, Highland Hippie. That's an awesome screen name. I love it. Hey, Elsie. Good to see you. Mark H. Good to see you. Just getting out of your sub-zero temps here in Minnesota. Man, we have had a relatively mild set of weather for the last few days. Before that, we had some below zero temps, but it wasn't too bad. Alaska Filmmaker VFX. Hey. Let's see. Jake, what is the easiest way to do minor color work on drone footage like the Mini 2 if you just want to post something fast? Uli, I just use the out of drone colors. If you don't shoot in the D-Cine like profile, but just shoot in the regular profile, they're pretty decent actually, right? Straight out of the drone. So if you want to do minor corrections, then throwing it in a program like Final Cut or something like that, you can do some minor corrections, even on the default kind of out of camera colors, out of drone colors. So Calzy, is it 8 p.m. for me? No, it's 4 p.m. for me. I'm in Alaska, so we're way late on the date time line as it goes around the world. So Matthew Henry, good evening. Rolo Hot Chocolate, thank you. How many cameras tonight? I think I already showed you, Ben, but 3. We got the A7III right here to be able to show off this unfortunate lens here, and then the Blackmagic Pocket 4K over there with anamorphic lens. This is the Sirui 35mm anamorphic lens on there. So that's why you see all the anamorphic goodness on that. Yeah. I feel like I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this, and we're going to lock it right there. See, that's still too hot. I don't understand why. Is that better? Still a little too much. We'll go there. How's that? There we go. I feel like I was just getting blown out there. Sunrise Water Media, hey, from frozen Alaska. Not as frozen as you, but frozen. Paul Feinberg, how's it going? Fly Zone, hey. Yeah, it happens. It's a bummer. It is what it is. Pilot, Sharks Hanger. See you, Jaden. Thanks for saying hi. It's 1 a.m. for you. Okay, see, dang, man. You're staying up late. Live color grade of drone footage. Oh, sweet. Oh, that's right, Paul. Yeah. On Original Dobo's channel, right? You can post that link, Paul. Because I think, am I joining you tonight? Was that tonight? After? Later? Something like that? Who gave this guy authority? I know, right, Eddie? Actually, Eddie, why are you not a... There, now Eddie has a blue wrench. Mike Farley, should you sell your Mini 2 and Mavic Air 2 for the Mavic 2 Pro? I would not. If you have a Mavic Air 2 and a Mini 2, I would just stick with those and wait to see what the Mavic 3 Pro, whatever it's going to be, is going to be. I wouldn't sell them for the Mavic 2 Pro. Not unless you absolutely have to have 10-bit color and you got to do tons of color grading. Because otherwise, just, yeah. And the only reason you would have to do tons of color grading is if you're working with higher end cameras that you've got to match, somebody else's stuff that they're shooting. So, let's see. Whiskey 7 Backroads. Good evening. Do I ever critique other YouTube channels? Thanks from Arizona. I haven't. It's not a bad thought though. I never have, but I might be open to it. Depending on the type, depends on the type of feedback you're after. So, you could boot Paul. Whoa, Eddie, careful! Don't let that power go to your head. Good evening, T and Rocky Raccoon. How you doing, Quinn? Any game cameras? You mean for like the talking head parts of gaming? Is that what you mean? Or Quinn, give me a little more details about what your use case is. Krishav, why is Nikon the majority in YouTube shooters? Krishav, I would say that Sony is actually the majority of YouTube shooters, but I think it depends on where you are. I think here in the US it's probably Sony or Canon, but I think in other parts of the world it's more Nikon. LCU pre-ordered the DJI goggles V2. Nice. Oh, Quinn, wildlife footage. Okay. See, when you said game, that is where my mind went first. But then I realized lots of people game, like, video game. And so I wasn't sure. For filming wildlife and stuff, it's, no, game is the right one. If you're hunting, it definitely is the right word. It's more less the camera and more the lens. So like the Sony A6400, A6600 with a really powerful telephoto lens on it would be really good for that kind of thing. And you want something like in the 100 millimeter to 600 millimeter range for doing something like that. Which actually, so it'd be pretty close, but you could probably do the Tamron 70 to 300, which is about 500 US. And when you put it on an APS-C body, like a A6400, A6600, you're going to end up with about, let's see, it'd be what, 105 to 450-ish, I think. 300 times, yeah, 105 to 450. So, and you're not spending a lot of money. Yeah, so I'd start there, or, yeah. Mike Farley, why do I see a lot of photographers and videographers on YouTube that have guitars in their background? Funny, because you play guitar and love videography and photography. Mike, I don't know that it's, It's funny though. You're right, because a lot of people do have them. I am a musician. I actually keyboard. Piano is my main instrument, but I also play acoustic and bass when necessary. And I think it's overall like if you're into one creative field or one creative endeavor, it spills into other creative endeavors too. Because generally, I guess you're a creative type of person, and so I think that's why it works out that way. That's my guess, at least. Yeah, but it is funny. I do see a lot of people with guitars, but they look good, right? I do actually use these, but yeah. CZ Holinski, it's 5 degrees in Michigan. Could I please take back your Arctic Blast, please? So, I've been joking with a lot of my friends in the lower 48 about their free trial of Alaska, especially in the southern parts of the lower 48, and asking them how they're enjoying their 7-day trial of Alaska. So far, not many of them have thought it's very funny. I have. So, Whiskey 7, looking forward to color grading video to match drone footage to mirrorless camera footage. Yes, I am working on that, Whiskey. So that one is coming. That is one of the videos I'm working on for the next, probably not. It's not it's next week. It might be the week after, I think, is when that one will be coming out. Hey, Callum, welcome. Could I do a setup tour? Ooh, actually, I probably could. It wouldn't look great because I don't have all the lighting set up, but I could do a setup tour. Where's my microphone? I don't know where my microphone is. Anyway. Oh, thanks, Eddie. This one here. Let's see. So I did that Monday because it was a nice day and there was a window of weather, and I wanted to go. Yeah, this one right here. I wanted to. Whoops. So Monday, I went to do this because I wanted to go test out my big FPV drone with the Blackmagic camera on top of it. And I mean, I've done a lot of stuff with it already, but this is really why I built it, was to be able to do stuff like this by locations that, are difficult to get to. So this was the first initial Arctic flight of my big FPV drone with a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera on it, out in the wild, so to speak. It was a test flight for what I want to do this summer, and some of the footage I want to capture as this year goes on. It performed really well. It was not terribly cold. I think it was in the 20s. But the funny thing is, there's always wind coming off of glaciers, and so compensating for that wind, trying to get as close to the face as I wanted to, was actually a lot more challenging than it looks like, because it was difficult to stay close. But to get there, this is how I got there. Yes, Callum, it was windy, and it got really windy toward the end of the day. So this is me after I got back and dropped my backpack, because I had a 50-pound backpack with me, which makes it much harder to skate. But just going out with the Skydio and capturing some footage of me skating around on the ice, because the ice does not look like that very often. And so, but yeah, it turned out to be an absolutely beautiful day. Beautiful by Alaska winter standards. So it was great. It was windy. Yeah, Mark H, mostly downdrafts off the glacier, and that's exactly what it is. There's always, because glaciers are so big, they generate their own little mini weather patterns. So there's always a wind that comes down off of the glacier, because just like if you open your freezer, you see all the cold air come out and go down. Same thing happens with the glacier. So it was a little less in the winter, but it still was there, and it was interesting, compensating for it with the FPV drone. I also did my little 5-inch drone. Did I, this is what you all are, oh yeah, nope, not that, there we go. I also did my little 5-inch drone, which looks like this, maybe, oh come on, there we go. So these are just a few clips that I grabbed with my 5-inch drone. Yes, I thought about going between us, and then I decided I had better not, because I didn't want to have any accidents. So this is just a GoPro on top of my little 5-inch FPV drone. Just kind of feeling out the weather and the feeling of it before I sent the larger drone up. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then there's a gentleman who was with me. He's a really cool guy. He was riding his fat tire bike, and I got to chase him around a little bit on the ice on the lake with his as he rode his fat tire bike, which was really fun. And at that point, the wind was really, really blowing hard through there. It was interesting. Challenging. Sunrise, yeah, the ice is almost never that smooth, which is why I jumped at the opportunity to actually do it, because I think the next day it was not as good. So, yeah. And it was about that thick, maybe? I don't know, 6 to 8 inches thick. So it looked really, really, it is safe, but, you know, that's what it looked like. Like, you could see the cracks, and then you could see the bottom of the ice. But because it's so clear, the ice is actually really, really safe that way. When you're on it, because it's very dense. So that was Portage Glacier, Lacey. Let's see. Have I ever crashed my FPV drone? Mike Farley asks. Many, many, many times. I have not crashed the large one, my big FPV drone, which is built to carry cinema cameras. I've not crashed that, but I also am not as daring with it either. I'm more cautious. Got to be careful. It's got an expensive camera on top of it when I'm flying it, and I don't want to lose any of them. Paul Feinberg asks, curious how I deal with script writing for commercials. Just lost a client after shooting footage because he decided he didn't want to write a script and ended up going with someone else, I guess. So I generally, when a client wants to work with me on a commercial, we will talk through what their vision of it is, what they want to see happen, and then I will... before I start filming, I'll present them with a storyboard script sort of thing, along with the kind of shots I'll need to capture to fulfill that. And then if they agree that that's good, then we move forward. I do run into the occasional time where a client will say, yeah, it looks good, but we can't do that because of, current issues or whatever it might be. And the sad part is that almost every single time that happens, I will deliver what we had agreed to with the restrictions that they had requested. And then we'll go back to what I originally proposed, and I'll have to do another shoot day to get the additional footage that I had wanted together originally. So, yeah, it's kind of a pain, because what people think you mean and what you mean are usually different things, and what people envision in their heads is just sometimes not always possible. It just depends on a lot of issues. So, hey, Jason Black, thank you. Looks amazing. It was amazing. Really, really nice. Yeah. Callum, do I skate a lot? Not that often, like once or twice a year, maybe. I would do it more if I had my own set of skates. I didn't. Those were a set that I rented from a company here, because they're the long kind. They're called Nordic skates, so they're long. They're meant to go forward, and they're meant to go fast with minimal effort, and they do all those things. But also, if you're used to like hockey skates or regular skates, they're extremely grippy and track straight, so you can't turn like you do with other ice skates. So it made it interesting. And then with a 50 pound backpack on my back, it made it much more interesting. Sunrise, when doing FPV flips on a day with a white sky and white snow in the background, do I ever lose orientations? Yes. And a friend and I were talking about this earlier today. The snow is incredibly hard to judge how close or how far you are away from in the FPV camera. And so there were a couple of times with the large camera when I was doing this stuff. Let's see if this is it. Nope, that's not it. Actually, this is. I'll play this for you here while I tell you. So I would fly out and then there we go. I would fly out and then turn around and come back to do this, and I would want to start low, and it was really hard. I almost landed in the snow a couple of times to go out and turn around and come back to do this, because it was hard to judge how high up I was based on the snow. Yeah, so it's interesting that way every single time. I went out. Oh yeah, I can play this. I went out to film this, which is filmed with a lens. This is filmed with the Sirui 24mm anamorphic, which was interesting to shoot with because it's a much tighter field of view than the usual like fairly wide angle camera field of view. But I wanted to stick it on an FPV drone and get some footage that nobody else is going to have from a perspective of like, you know, hey, this lens is interesting. So this is just raw footage with a really rough, quick edit of me testing it out. And it's interesting to fly a lens like that anyway, because it's really, really front heavy. And it did fine. It definitely was taxing my vibration compensation system on the drone. So, but it looks cool. It definitely looks cool. There was some good usable footage there. It's definitely a learning curve of going, oh yeah, no, that is way tighter field of view than what I was seeing in my head set. So interesting. Anyway. Let's see. Any good starting FPV drones? Ben, I actually might have a video coming about that. That company reached out to me with a kind of good starter FPV drone kit. But I haven't heard back. It's been Chinese New Year, so that's probably slowed everything down. But I recommend like the Beta FPV kit. The little Beta FPV kit is really good. About $200. You get a drone, goggles, controller. It's small. You can fly it inside. You can fly it outside if it's not a very windy day, and really learn the basics without causing any damage or repairing your drone a lot. It's amazing how you guys can do all that over a frozen lake in New York. This lake was recently frozen. Somebody fell right through. Yeah, Eddie, this lake is frozen twice this year and then broke up because wind hit it and like blew it all, broke up the ice. So I waited till the last minute before the snow hit to be able to go ice skate on it, because I wanted to make sure it was pretty thick. And I had gone and checked it out a couple days earlier, walked around and kind of checked the thickness on a few places, and it was good. So, yeah. Haley, best starter drone for those on a budget. Haley, are you talking about like a camera drone? If you're talking about a camera drone, the best starter drone for on the budget is the Mini 2 or the Mini, the DJI Mini. You can buy those at Costco for like $300 something for a whole kit for it. They might have something similar where you are, depending on where you are in the world, but yeah. Ryland, yes, I am. I have an A7III Mini. Oops. So here you can see the Mini. I might be able to see it. Oh, nope, not that side. Really? Gosh dang. Anyway, so you can see, I got the Mini. So I have the phone, little short HDMI cable with a adapter, so I can just plug in my phone real fast if I need to. And like my color grade, it's so different. I'm getting closer with the Blackmagic, but it's a work in process. So, JR, thank you for the super chat. I finally caught up to you. Thank you very much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Super chats are not necessarily, but they are really appreciated, especially since I just lost a few $100s on a crappy lens that doesn't work. Let's see. Could you recommend regular coloring drone videos with so many options? Use Filmora X, or how do you learn? Thank you. Most editors are going to be the same or have very similar controls and stuff like that. So, like starting with some basic color grading, like look up Filmora X and color grading and start there. And it's color grading is something, it takes time. Like I'm not super great at it. I can get there. It takes me a while, but it's just something you have to like put in a fair amount of time in practice. Alex, I'm the man. Have you experienced grainy footage with Mavic drones using D-Cine-like? I have not, but it definitely, depending on the drone, if you're like up around ISO 400, 800, I would not go over ISO 800 on the DJI drones. They get real noisy up around 600, so that could be part of it, or 1600, depending on how high up you went. Quinn, best camera for filming wildlife? I think I already answered that, but I would get I mean, really, like any recent model Canon, Nikon, or Sony camera, and I would get a 100 to 400 millimeter lens. So, like a Sony A6400 with a Tamron 70 to 300 would be a good combination for that to start out with, because you're not going to spend a ton of money. You'd be like under $1,500 for both of those. But yeah. Sunrise water media looks amazing. Oh yeah, thanks. Mike, do I do my own editing for YouTube and for clients? I do. I edit everything myself, and sometimes I wish that I did not, as it's time consuming. Is that the name of the kit, the Tiny Go, or can I not say it? The kit for what, Sunrise? Callum, did I buy the A7 III body as a bundle or separately? So when I bought the A7 III, it had just come out, and so I bought it with the lens bundle. And then I sold the lens later to a friend who needed a lens. And so the A7 III. But I'm selling it. I'm selling it as the body only. I was going to sell it with a kit lens, and this kit lens I got is no good because the person who sold it to me lied about it working. Or they just really didn't know what they were talking about. But I think they did because they immediately removed the ad and disappeared. So I think they knew full well that they were selling a crappy, faulty lens. So yeah, Haley, look at the Mini and the Mini 2. The Mini 2, if you can afford it, get the Mini 2 because it's a great little drone. It has some pretty substantial upgrades from the Mini, but if you can't, the Mini 1 is also a really good drone to start with. So, Alaska filmmaker, you hear a lot of people go in that spot, glacier breaks off, and everything breaks up in shockwaves. Yeah, Alaska filmmaker, it does. And if you see, let me pull this up here. This is why you don't go near the face of an active glacier like Portage. You want to stay a good bit away because, no, not there. Let's see, where is it? You see all that ice there? All that ice is all broken up. You see all that ice is broken up right down there in the center. That's all from ice falling off the glacier. And then right here, you see how all that ice is all broken up? That's all from the glacier pushing against it. See how it's spider cracked out? That's from pieces falling off and the glacier pushing against the lake ice. So you don't want to go close to the face of an active glacier because it's dangerous, especially when you're standing on lake ice. Yeah, exactly, Brian. That's what I plan to do. So I don't have my tools with me, or I would start right now. Oh wait, I do. Yeah. Hey. So, why not? Okay. Let's see. Well, yeah. So you don't want to go too close to the active face of a glacier. I've been out there, quarter mile away, and a piece the size of a school bus came off, and it was 5 or maybe 6 feet of lake ice, like 5 or 6 feet thick of lake ice, and you could feel it move under you from the force that the glacier pushed off when it did that. Oh, Sunrise. Well, in theory, it's going to be the Beta FPV Meteor 65 kit is, I believe, which I already own like 2 of them because I like them and they're great little drones. But yeah. So they emailed me. I said, yeah, let's do it. And then Chinese New Year's hit, or Chinese New Year hit, so I'm assuming that's why I haven't heard anything from them since. So that's the one I recommend anyway to people. It's like $200. You get a decent little controller and all that stuff. So well, that's interesting. Where's my so live disassembly of a lens that doesn't work. Pull off this little PCB. I got to disconnect several ribbon cables. It would be amazing if I did this and then it just started working after I put it all back together. That would be so awesome. But I don't think that's going to happen. I need my glasses. I'm getting older and it gets harder to see this stuff without glasses. This is what I need right here. All these fine little bits and pieces. I got to keep up on the chat too. No, it wasn't eBay, Journeyman, unfortunately. Yeah, otherwise I'd have already sent it back. Let's see, Dylan upgraded full frame Sony soon. You'd see my video about best budget performance lenses. What Sony lenses do you think are the most versatile if budget wasn't an issue? Dylan, excellent question. I highly recommend somebody get a lens in the 24 to 70 range. That's a super versatile range. If you want the most versatile one, then get the Sony one and get the Sony one with optical image stabilization, because that will give you a really good handheld steady shot. That, and then the next one to get is the really wide one, because most people like to walk around and film themselves, like me. Especially if you do things on YouTube. So that'd be like the 16 to 35 or the Tamron 17 to 28. But if you want stabilization where you do lots of stuff handheld, then the 16 to 35 is going to be a little bit better. Yeah, so that's where I would start. The Sony lenses are a little more expensive, but they are excellent lenses and they perform really well. There we go. Come on. There's one. So, 2. Look at that. You know, I should look and see if I can just buy spare parts. Wonder if I could. Come on, baby. Just pop out there. There we go. Wow, I can see why these lenses are so cheap. I mean, cheap, quote unquote. So, wondering what would be the best lenses for the Sony A7 III yesterday. Literally uploaded a video on the day before. Yeah, nice, Caleb. That's awesome. So, yeah, disassembling a lens live. Ta-da! I don't know what I'm doing, but I can take things apart. So if I missed a question, please ask it again in the chat, and I will try and answer it, you know, as we go. But yeah, Sloan Ranger. Yeah, the Sloan Ranger is in the house. I've been trying to figure out how to incorporate that more because I do like it. SVG, love my videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. Callum, well, so no, it does work for photos. This lens works for photos. The problem is that it resets every 2 to 3 seconds. So you can't film video with it because it resets and it automatically stops. The camera will not start filming video because it's resetting. Did I miss a screw in there? No. Nope, that should be it. Oh, there we go. The trick is going to be just for fun. See, look, there's the weather sealing right there. That little rubber thing right there. If I can put this thing back together after I take it apart. I mean, I can. Anytime I've ever taken anything apart, I've always been able to put it back together. But so yeah, it takes photos. It just, yeah, the autofocus doesn't work exactly right. Oh, interesting. See, that sounds like something's broken there. Oh, I wonder if that's a problem right there. Ooh, maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see if we can pull this out. I need my forceps. It's like surgery. You got the Mavic Air 2, got grainy footage at 100 ISO. You were using an ND filter. It was too dark. It could, Alex, depending on the ND filter, and so yeah, I would definitely try it without an ND filter. If it's super grainy, then you may have something wrong in the drone. But also shoot with it in a normal profile. There we go. And see what happens. Sometimes the cine like those kind of modes will give you problems. See, then the question is, how does that thing come off? Oh, clever. No, that's supposed to be that way. Weather sealing. Yeah, there's some weather sealing down in there too, it looks like. Or dust. Interesting. Wow, this is a lot of plastic. It's a lot of plastic. This was Facebook Marketplace, Alaska Filmer. Beta, is it pretty good for outside? You live in Michigan and like to fly it outside, Ben. It's not the greatest for outside. It's fine if it's a calm day, like if it's not super windy. You can fly it outside. You can fly it outside a little bit of wind. It's not bad. I do need a camera 4 above me. Let me see if I can get this guy back awake here. Oops. Waiting for it. Waiting. See if it comes back through. Come on. Problem is I can't see a preview, so I don't know if it's like gonna come through or not. Yeah, maybe not. So let's see. Do I do a lot of FPV repairs? Mark H, if you get into FPV, you are going to do a lot of FPV repairs because you're gonna crash, and it's just the best way to take care of it is to fix it yourself. So yes, I do a lot of FPV repairs. Less now than I used to, but I still do quite a bit. Interesting. Kind of cool to see the weather sealing. Let's see. Did it go through? Nope. I don't think that camera, so I gotta... Hi, Scott Beeman. Diana Pierce, Minnesota. Nice. You guys are hopefully gonna warm up soon. 4th camera if I add DIY stuff. I agree. That's true. CZ, I could always watch a video and remember how to put it back together. Thank you, Callum. Let's see, Bob Casey, what ND filter do I use for sunshine and snow setting on my drone? You've yet to film and fly in this environment, but going to tomorrow. So usually, if it's sunny, like clear, really sunny, beautiful day, then an ND32 is where you're going to be. And then, yeah, depending on where you go from there, you might... I feel like there's something else holding it on. Oh, that's what's holding it on. Maybe. Interesting. Let's see, 816. Yeah, Bob Casey. So I'm usually at a 32 on a sunny day on sunshine and snow. Occasionally, I've had to be at like a 64 if it's like bright noonday sun. CZ, thank you very much for an instruction manual for lens repair. Oh, I appreciate that. I have 9. Let's see. Yeah, so I'd be at an ND32 most of the time to try and make that work. There has to be something in here that will, like... So you can see little screws in there. I don't know where this one's going to come apart. This is riveting stuff here. Hey, Geeks Fauna. You tried that the last time the lens is ever in one piece? This might be the last time this lens is ever in one piece. Not that I'm losing much, because it didn't work anyway. Watch the seller message me back now going, oh, okay, I'll take it back. Can I just hand him all the parts? Go, here you go. Hey, look at that. When in doubt, just take off the random screws. That's the focus control. That's cool. Getting that back together is going to be fun. Look at that. How all that works inside. I know you can't see it super well, but it's always interesting to me how lenses, like, they build the whole thing to, you know, focus in and out and all the optics and stuff like that. All right, Ben, have a good one. Thanks for being here. Sunny day over snow, manual or auto white balance? AK, I don't know how to say your name, but I always do manual white balance. I never shoot auto white balance because I just had it change on me too many times. And while not necessarily because of the snow, but like you hit a shadow or you go into a shadow and all of a sudden the drone thinks it's cloudy. And so with my main cameras and everything else, I always shoot in a manual white balance. And that just works out better for me that way. See, there's the aperture. I should see if I can find parts for this and make this lens work again. Wouldn't that be cool? Journeyman, you say I should look for a short by the focus motor. This is going to be so... Uh-oh. I think I just dropped a screw. I'll have to get my big magnet down here to find it again. Let's see. Thanks, Sunrise, for more riveting content. Everything's always riveting content. So I've got this is the focus motor here, and it very well might be the problem. The question is, can I oh wait. No, this is not the focus motor. This is the focus by wire. Where the focus motor is, it's going to be interesting to see. Pull that off. Oh, there's the rails for it. So then the next thing is to take all these little guys off here. Might see if I can slip this first outer ring off. Alaska filmmaker VFX, where are you? Are you South Central? You're near me or not? It'd be fun to get together. Huh. See, this is the part where I should have worn gloves because now everything's getting all greasy. Man, the wires are so little. I wonder if that's what's causing the problem, is the break in the... Might be a break in that there. Bob Casey Ariel, hey! Best setting on my camera drone. Curious you'll save some battery time. Best settings. What do you mean best settings? Best settings for what? Yeah, so that's AKI Rasho. I don't know how to say your name. I always set it manual white balance, and I shoot like kind of what the majority of the day is. So it's like mostly sunny, I'll just shoot in a sunny setting, and then it's locked off and it doesn't change on you. Or if it's cloudy, mostly cloudy, I'll just shoot in the cloudy setting, and yeah. So yeah, Bob Casey, let me know what, like, are you talking photos? Are you talking video? What are you looking for there? Because that'll definitely make a difference. Wow, there's some really small parts in this. I mean, not that I'm not surprised, but Hi, Lon. Thanks, Kelsey, the intro of the A7III. It's pretty easy when you've gone out and shot a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of good stuff to pull from. To do that, that made it kind of fun. Mark H, do I use a gray card for white balance? Yeah, sometimes if it's going to be kind of weird or difficult, then I'll use a gray card. And most Sony cameras have the ability to like hold the gray card or the white card in front of the camera and snap go into the white balance setting and snap it, and it'll custom set the white balance for that particular moment. So I do that a lot, especially when I'm doing interviews, other places where it's like kind of mixed lighting, where it like might not be all one color or one or the other, and so it'll help kind of, I'll put it where the person is going to be, get the white balance for that spot, so at least I know when they're sitting there, their skin will look correct overall. Lens Lab Live. Yep, that's right, Eddie. Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and go all the way. You know what I need is this right here for these guys. All these little bushings. You know, the problem is I got to put this back together so that, or at least somewhat believably back together, so that I can do a video about buying used gear and the dangers of buying used gear. Oh, that's popped out. Those pop out. and not dropping the pieces of gear that you've just taken apart. And I can hear something grinding in there. That has to be the problem. That's right. That's right. If there are parts left over, they weren't supposed to be there. Let's see. So have I missed any? Let's see. Pleasure to the lens probably be more satisfying. That's right, Mike Farley. That would be more satisfying. So Bob Casey Ariel, are you still here? Yeah, you are. So when I film, like when I do video work, I have it like set to the standard settings, or if I'm going to do a lot of work to it, then I'll do it in the D Cine-like and use LUT to kind of pull in the general color grade and then work with it from there. I always shoot with the lowest ISO possible, so around 100, 200 if possible. And then I try not to go over 400 or 800 at the most. And then I keep if you're using a Mavic 2 Pro where you can change the aperture, I keep the aperture around 5.6 if I can and use an ND filter to change everything from there. If I'm shooting photos, I always shoot photos in RAW uncompressed because I want the most amount of quality I can get for editing later in the, later on. And so the question is, how does this... Or does that the whole thing just pop out now? Nope. That's how I do that. See, that looks like it should just... Right? This is gonna, not like it was a good lens to begin with, but I was gonna say this is gonna end badly. Because it is. Why is that so different? Carlos, hey. Tamron 70 to 180 or the Sony 135? Ooh. If you want the versatility of being able to zoom in and out, then definitely the Tamron. But if you want the crispest, most sharpest telephoto photos you can possibly take, then the Sony 135 for sure. The 135 is a great portrait lens, but you have to have lots of room to back up, or you're going to be really, really tight portraits. But yeah. Do I need any special tools for this disassembly? Right now it's like a 00 Phillips head. And then I got some of these plastic. I had a computer repair kit thing with plastic tools for like popping off the little ribbon cables and stuff. And yeah, so far that's all I'm using. So like that cable looks like it could have been broken right there, but it's really hard to tell because they're really, really tiny cables. Is what it is. Let's see, Bob Casey Ariel, both photo and video, snow and sunshine. You said use it ND32. What setting ISO aperture? Okay, so I think I already answered it, but I'll do it again. Keep your ISO as low as possible, so 100 to 200 if possible. I set the aperture at 5.6-ish because that's kind of the sweet spot for the Mavic 2 Pro if that's what you're filming with. And then I use an ND filter to kind of dial in the rest of the settings where I want to be. Your frame rate, if you're filming, your frame rate should always be 2 times your or your shutter speed should always be 2 times your frame rate. So if you're filming in 24, you want it to be 1/50. If you're filming in 30, you want it to be 1/60, etc. And then for photos, you can do your frame rate or your shutter speed at whatever you want. So yeah. So, and Bob, so I would start with an ND16 and then maybe go to an ND32 depending on how much sunshine you've got. So yeah. Mike Farley, how do I outline my YouTube videos? So I always have an idea. I start with an idea of what I want to do and what I want to film with my YouTube videos. And then from there, see, oh, they do come out. Interesting how they come out, but they do come out. From there, like a lot of my videos, I start with an outline of kind of like trying to figure out what sort of location I want to film said video in. So I might like go, yeah, for this one I want to go out to a glacier. For this one I want to go like find some forest or, you know, ocean or whatever it might be. And so that's where it starts. And then from there, it's kind of like going, okay, now I need to watch for good weather, because weather is a major factor for most of my videos, because I'm doing them out on location, live on location in most cases. This is going to be interesting if I pull this thing apart and put it back together. Come on, you're almost there. And so then from there, it's kind of building out the storyline. So I've had the iFootage, there we go, Shark Slider Nano for quite a while. And interesting. And I've been shooting with it and trying to get the, yeah, this lens is not going to go back together anytime soon in the way that it is supposed to, that's for sure. Pull the whole the inner workings of a lens. There's a magnet there, which means that was like for one of the that's like the back focus motor, and then there's the front focus motor. It's all based on magnets. So just pretty cool actually if you think about it. So now that I've completely taken that thing apart, yeah, from there, that's how I build that out. So like I went and shot this ad for Tamron. I think I've got it on here. Yes, I do. So I went and shot this ad for Tamron, and basically the whole idea started out with I wanted to go to the top of a mountain and kind of document the journey and I mean, show off some other stuff, but I want to do most of the video from the top of a mountain, which in the winter is no small feat to go to the top of a mountain. But I did it, and it was all because I was like, okay, I think I go here, and I can get this shot right here. This shot and this shot were the two shots that I had in mind. So then I kind of built the story backwards from there of everything else I needed to include in the video and put it in there. And when Tamron signed off on it, put it together and went out and shot it, and then sent them what actually 99% of what you saw there. So do I use any type of electrical contact cleaners? Not usually. Sometimes I do, but yeah. Mark H, was it windy and cold? It was cold. It wasn't super windy, which was really great. Sunrise, you like hanging with Jake in his workshop live stream? Thanks. I appreciate that. Journeyman, how much daylight are we getting this time of year? We're up to 9 hours. So we went from 4.5, 5 hours up to 9 hours now, which is awesome. It is so exciting and so nice to have a decent amount of daylight again. Because we're all... Oh, see, that was the problem there. That one broke right there. See this little, I knew it. This little ribbon cable here is broken. And I knew it. I could hear it every time I put the lens like to a certain distance inside. You could hear it kind of crunch. There was a little crunchy sound to it. And that was the problem right there. Where did my other... What did I do with my other thing? Anyhow. I wonder if I put this whole thing back together, if it would work at all. Would be kind of wild, right? Like, especially after I've just done all this to it. It does give you a whole new respect for the people that put these things together every single day. So then the question is, could I find the pieces for this lens still and put it back together to where it actually would work? I have to look, see if I can find some pieces for it. Oh, Casey. That's the start. Experiment along the way. Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that, Bob Casey. I really do. I don't feel like I was paying very close attention to you all tonight. But you didn't have a lot of questions either, so that's okay. Mark H. Broken. Yeah, I kind of figured it was something like that. It probably wasn't all the way broken, but it probably was like cracked and not getting good connection all the way through. And so then when I took it apart, it broke the rest of the way. Duct tape, that's right, duct tape. A little duct tape and bubble gum. This lens will be good as new, and I can sell it on Facebook Marketplace to somebody else. Awesome, Cardigan Bay. That's fantastic. I'm glad you joined it here. I'm just wrapping up, tearing a lens apart that I bought that doesn't work. That was a scam, basically. And you know, it is what it is. So, gonna try and start putting it back together here in a little bit because the live stream is gonna wrap up. And then I'll give it to you, Brian. And you can use it for greeblies and whatnot. Good night, Alaska filmmaker, VFX. Alex, thanks for doing this. Help cycling training ride go a lot faster. Oh, awesome. I'm glad. Let's see. Have I completed any sort of mountaineering avalanche training? I have. My dad was in mountain rescue. I spent some time in mountain rescue. Well, not mountain rescue, but I spent some time in search and rescue. So when I was young, climbing mountains with my dad, we did avalanche training, mountaineering training. I climbed a few mountains with him. And then doing search and rescue, of course, we did some training there. And yeah, so I do a lot of these things, and people think that, like, oh, that's great. You know, you can just run around in these ice caves or in these glaciers, and you can't. It's dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, it's extremely dangerous. You really need to go with people. You need to go with a guide or with somebody who knows what they're doing in most of these locations, especially like mountaineering in the winter can be very dangerous. Let me pull up a clip because you get these cornices. So like this, all looks well and good. You can see rocks and stuff there where I'm standing, which means you're on solid ground or relatively solid ground. But when the drone pans around here, and let me see if I can pause it when we get to that point. If you walk too far to one side, you would walk onto what is called a cornice right there. So you see that snow directly in front of me, there's a big face of it. If you walk too far, that could break off, and that's what causes avalanches in a lot of cases and take you down with it. So you really need to know how to read the ground and what you are around and what's around you, and be aware of stuff that's going on. Otherwise, you could end up in a world of hurt really fast. So, awesome. Let's see. Bono, your A7III never looked this good. 24 millimeter 1.4 GM as well. So this is the A7S III that you're seeing, and it is a improvement for sure. Expensive, but definitely an improvement. Very good. Canon M50 with kit lens or iPhone 11 Max for travel cam. I mean, honestly, I would go with the iPhone 11 Pro just because you can film and edit all of your stuff on the phone, and it takes really good video and photos. Thanks, Lacey. I won't. I've got a big magnet upstairs. I'm going to go grab and find it. So, sunrise. Did I miss something Sunrise said? Freezing temp. Sunrise. I do feel sorry for you all. I hope you get through it soon, especially if you're in the rolling blackouts area. I'm really very sorry about that. We did, Brian. That's right. We were down there, and there was a small avalanche up above us on the glacier. So we just felt the dust of it and heard the sounds. So if it had been much later, I probably wouldn't have done that in the middle of the night, just because the danger for avalanches gets much higher the later in the year you go. So like that valley, I wouldn't walk up in that valley now. It's like that's a avalanche gully, just ready for all kinds of fun. Hey Chaos, what's my backup plan when I'm out in the wilderness like that? So I have survival gear with me every time. So I always have some survival gear with me. I always have, my internet speed is crashing. I always have an inReach with me so that I can make an SOS call if I have to. People that know me and that I know, I let them know where I'm going, how long I should be gone, what time I should be back, and my rough path of how I'm going and coming back from those areas. So if Brian actually is one of those people that if I don't come back or if I don't text him by a certain time, he'll start wondering what's going on. And so fortunately, I've never had to use an inReach or SOS for myself or use my first aid kit for myself. I have had to help other people though. So yeah, and I do carefully plan these things. That's right, Journeyman. A lot of people skied down that mountainside. I wish I had some skis. Benjamin Lockwood, yep, I'm still live. Not for much longer because I got to go and get on somebody else's live stream here in a minute. But yeah. Mark H, have I ever been stuck? Yes. I've gotten trapped by storms before that I had to wait out. One of them was overnight, and that wasn't fun. It was cold and miserable, and just, it sucked. The whole night sucked. But, I'm here, I'm alive, and I'm glad to be done with that. Hey, bud. Adam, go ahead. You'll probably be the last question, but go ahead. Hey, Logan, Arndt, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. So yeah, Adam, ask away. Where was? Anyway, I'll start reassembling this guy. Where's my... There. Something's not quite aligned right, but I'll get there eventually. Let's see. Okay, Adam Khan. Yes, we are, but looking to get an A7III with the goal of filmmaking. Heard that I should go for a 45mm lens in the 28-70 or something like that. What are my thoughts on this? If you're going to go with the A7III for filmmaking, I would get something in the 24-70 range, whether that's the Tamron 28-75, which is a great lens. Obviously, I use it a lot. Or the Sony 24-70. I would get something in that range and start with that. That's going to give you most versatile ability to do a lot of different things. So that's where I would go for sure. Yeah. I did, Benny. It looks pretty cool. I'm very curious to see, especially the firmware update that they're releasing for all the Blackmagic cinema cameras here in a month or so. Very, very cool looking, very good looking camera though. Ben, for the A7 III, I'm going to sell it for $1,300. It's a good camera, works well. It does have some wear on the body, but nothing affects performance. It's just, a little bit of the color got rubbed off the metal on the corners. It's always had a screen protector on it, so it's actually in pretty good shape. It's about 8,200, I think, shutter actuation. So they say it's good for 100,000 something. Yeah. Mike Farley, if I had to choose one, A7 II or A6600? A6600, because it has better color science, much, much better autofocus system, and about the same megapixel count, even though it's APS-C. I wouldn't worry about it. So 24-105 on your Canon R5. Nice, Mark. Oh, Mark, I got to try out a R5. In fact, one of the videos I've got coming up is going to be a comparison between the A7S III and the Canon R5. And the Canon R5 is an impressive camera, even with its quirks. It's really a great camera. So you'll enjoy that video. It's coming sometime in the next couple weeks. Anyway, all right, folks, I've gone over time. Normally I try and be done by 5, and we've gone a few minutes over, but listen, I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate you all being part of this channel and part of the community. So I'm really, really glad that you all were here to watch me take apart this lens that I bought that was worthless and useless, and I spent money on it, and is what it is. So have a good one. Be safe. I will see you all again soon in the next video. Cheers, everyone.